What's going on, comic book community? And I want to welcome you to this video, the top 50 comic books in my collection. Now this is in part thanks to Alex the Comic Hoarder, who basically tagged everybody in the community to show off their top favorite 50 books in their collection. And for me personally, like, there's nothing really high value in my collection, but it's personally my favorite pickups of my collecting career so far, which there's really nothing of high value, but it's more personal to me and my collecting style. So let's just get right into this, and I just want to say that no book in here is in any particular order, because just choosing 50 books in my collection was actually harder than it seemed. So let's just get right into it. Now, starting off with Star Wars issue number 42. Now, everybody knows what this is, thanks to The Mandalorian. And then up next, Star Wars number 68, the second appearance of Boba Fett, mostly in flashback. Finn Shisa, and then the first mention of the Mandalorians. And then this got hot over the second half of last year, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures number 1. And up next is Young Avengers number 1. Now this one's a personal favorite, mostly for the reason why I picked it up and the price tag. Now, most of these books that I'm going to show off in my collection, if you guys have been following my channel and my comic hauls, you would most likely have seen most of these books. Up next, it's Deadpool number 1, his first ongoing. Strange Adventures number 187. This is a really tough to find book, and it's the first appearance of the Enchantress. And this book has actually gotten harder to find thanks to the Suicide Squad movie. Like, regardless if you like that movie or not, that movie actually made this book jump up in price quite a bit, and it's still kind of hard to find. And then up next is Spawn, the Gunslinger issue. Now, because I'm a horror fan, you can't have a collection without these 3 classics. Halloween number 1, Nightmares on Elm Street number 1, one of my personal favorites, Friday the 13th number 1, the 1 in 10 variant, which features Kane Hodder from part 8 on the cover. Umbrella Academy number 1. Now, in the 90s, like, this movie was really huge, and the comic book that it was based on is a very low print run, and I just happened to have it in my collection. The Men in Black number 1. Now, I picked this up on vacation when I went with my current wife to visit her family for her birthday over in Florida, and we managed to stop by at a local used bookstore, and they happened to have this on a display case. And if y'all seen the movie, like, y'all know how good it is, and having the book to complement it is all the more sweeter. Now I have the first Swamp Thing number 1. I wish it was the House of Secrets, but the first ongoing isn't bad either. Now, everybody that knows me knows that Batman is my favorite hero, but I kind of like wanted to diversify this top 50, mostly because I could have just stayed here and mostly showed off most of my Batman collection. So up next is Batman Adventures number 10. This just so happens to be signed by Dan Slott, and it's a newsstand. And would you believe that I actually found this in a back issue bin for $1? Up next, Batman number 386, the first appearance of the Black Mask. Batman number 1 from the New 52. Batman number 635, the first appearance of the new Red Hood. If you guys have seen my last round of comic book haul videos. Y'all know I picked this up by accident. Batman number 679, the 1 in 25 Tony Daniel variant. And up next is the 1 in 25 Mick Mignola Batman number 700 variant. Now, if I can't own the first appearance of Batman and Detective 27, which at this point is literally you'd have a better chance of hitting the jackpot, but for me personally, this is the next best thing to own. Batman Beyond number 1, and this happens to be a newsstand edition, and this one is always going to stick in my collection. I never plan on selling it. And then Batman Beyond number 6, the first appearance of Ink, and I just so happen to have 2 copies of that. Now up next, I call this the Jack Kirby triple threat. The Demon number 1, New Gods number 1, and Mr. Miracle number 1. Now this one is in mid-grade, but it is the cheapest copy that I could get, and I got this like 3 years ago for $18. Now up next is, I call this the Spider-Verse triple threat. SpiderMan number 4, the first appearance of Cindy Moon, and I happened to get that autographed by Humberto Ramos at a con a couple of years ago. Now for me personally, this next book I consider to be my greatest $1 find of my hunting career, mostly because I picked it up when it was right at the peak of when the Into the Spider-Verse movie came out. Edge of Spider-Verse number 2, the first appearance of Spider-Gwen. Now this book has really broken the glass ceiling with Marvel Legacy characters, and funny story about this is that I actually got it the week after it had came out, and it was just sitting in one of my short boxes for the longest time that I actually forgot that I had it. Now everybody knows that a 9.8 of this book can go for crazy amounts of money, and it's Ultimate Fallout number 4, the first printing. Now a 9.8, I guess you can say, is really good, but when you can still say that you have it in the poly bag, I consider that a better win in my value. Now I know that Alex mentioned that as a kid he would never have $30 to spend on this next book, but I actually managed to pick it up a couple years ago at an estate sale for exactly $30. X-Men number 266, the first appearance of Gambit. Now this, like, the only thing that's really wrong with this book is that it does have the subscription crease, which luckily for me it's not color breaking, but it could be in better condition. Up next is New Mutants 98, the first appearance of Deadpool. And considering this is the 90s and it is a newsstand, I consider that a win in my book. Now, thanks to Joaquin Phoenix, this book has actually shot up a lot in value, and I managed to pick it up in low grade for I would say a good price. The Joker number 1. Now thanks to The Rock, this book is hitting a pretty penny, but I happened to actually get this for free for my birthday last year when my brother and my wife, they literally couldn't think of anything to give me, so they just gave me cash, and I happened to pick this up. It's Shazam number 28. Now this is in relatively mid-grade condition, but even in this grade, this book can hit anywhere between $200 to $300. Up next is the new Teen Titans number 2, the first appearance of Deathstroke. Tales of the Teen Titans number 44, the origin of Deathstroke and the first appearance of Nightwing. That's a newsstand. Now this book has kind of somewhat cooled down, but being able to pick it up day one that it hit the comic book store. Teen Titans number 12, the first appearance of the Batman Who Laughs. Now, I would consider this my third favorite pickup, mostly because I found it at a half-price books when it was already a $50 book. Another copy of New Teen Titans number 12. I only picked it up for $1.49. Now, these next few books are mostly just cover grabs, but they are extremely difficult to find. Well, first off, it's Wonder Woman number 184. Now, I consider these like my personal favorite variants in my collection. Harley Quinn, or I think it's Suicide Squad number 11. This is the Mexico variant, which happens to have Margot Robbie on the cover. Up next is Batman number 50, the Batman vs. Superman variant. Superman number 50, the Henry Cavill variant. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the Wonder Woman number 50, and I'm actually on the lookout for that. So if any of you guys in the community happen to have it, you know, hit me up and hopefully we can work something out. Now, up next is Wonder Woman number 26, Justice League number 21, Justice League of America, I believe this is number 15 or 10, I believe. And this one's number 15, the movie variant. Now, I'm not particularly a fan of Tom King and his writing on Batman, but this was a cover grab for me. Batman number 32, Aquaman number 28, Wonder Woman number 31, and finally a Harley Quinn special edition number 1, the Mexico variant with another Margot Robbie cover. And if you guys have been keeping count, this is actually only 48 books, but if you tune in tomorrow and into one of my comic book haul videos, you'll find out what new 2 books made it onto my list. So hopefully you guys have found this interesting, and drop your links down below so we can see the top 50 books in your collection. Alright guys, take it easy.